I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again, for finding yourself in this moment, for taking yourself out of your way to find yourself in this moment. Today's whole stream topic is going to be about being kind to the robots. Might be a little bit of a weird stream topic, might be a little bit out there in so many ways, but it's not as out there as we actually think it is anymore. Like the robots are gonna be in our homes very soon, gonna be all up in our faces, and we're gonna have to be kind. We're gonna have to figure out to be kind. I actually did some research today for today's stream topic. Very unlike me. I was like, oh yes, maybe I should know what I'm talking about, like a little bit, just a little bit of knowing what I'm talking about. So I do have a list. I'll go through the list, and then maybe we'll just go through the list at first, and then we'll leave the list in kind of like the back catalogs of our mind, so that we can continue streaming with it in mind, right? Instead of like having to bring ourselves back to the list every single time. Let me just say hi, Zana. It was nice having you in yoga today. It's nice having you here now. Shan, love to you too. Dan, thank you for joining us, man. The Duck Dad is here too. Sending you love. I am now the second most bearded man here. Good morning, my friend. So much love. I would be super kind to a Roomba. Yes, be kind to the robots. My dad recently had a heart attack. He has 3 new stints and is doing great. Great! I don't know what stints are. I don't know. I think stints like keep the veins open, right? But we do have things called like pacemakers, like little robots we put inside of our body to help our hearts beat. You know, I don't think they're quite sentient necessarily, but we can be kind to them as well, right? There she is, Joy V. Like yesterday, you were talking about that scarf being your favorite. I think this scarf of yours is like a big contender for my favorite scarf. I really like the way it looks, especially these little shapes. Like making flowers with these little shapes, always fire. So happy to hear your dad is doing great. I'm happy to hear that as well. Me and my dad had a spat. And not like a real spat, like just like a WhatsApp. I I got a little bit abrasive. Yes, unkind technically. Not really, not unkind to him, but unkind to his religion. Definitely, very much unkind. You know, because I believe that on some sort of level, on base level, there is a lack of kindness in that religion. So much. Connor is here too. It's nice having you. That face means guilt. I can tell. That's not guilt. It's not guilt. It's not guilt, but it's a little bit like maybe I shouldn't say shit like that to my dad. Like I straight up told my dad I want to kill the Christian God. From this perspective, not like actually go and fight and kill, like the type of kill like Nietzsche killed him, right? Like God is dead. Nietzsche's perspective that we've killed God as a thing that we used to consider a necessity, right? We have taken care of our necessities to the point where now God is dead. I'm butchering it. Nietzsche is generating energy in his coffin right now, but essentially, we don't need God anymore. And my dad is very much on the train that everything that's wrong with the world is wrong with the world because everybody isn't a Christian already. And I'm like, Dad, nah. Oh, hell nah. Nah. So, yeah, things need to change. And I consider myself a note of that change. Things can't remain the same, clearly. Clearly, the model is not workable. I'm just gonna do Degas symbols, all Degas. The, the piece of paper already has the word protected on it. So I'm gonna go Degas with a mindfulness of being protected. Degas. The Degases are getting all bigger. I'll do Degas. And then which one? All of them are like vying for my attention. And then I'll do humanity. Yes, enlightenment, 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 humanity. Yeah, yeah. Come on, humanity. Come on. Shell is here too. Sending you love, and it's nice having you. Melted just went full sassy teenager. Dad, I will kill your god. Exactly, dude. Like it was kind of like that. I felt like it was so immature, but I was like trying to communicate the extremes of my perspective, where he keeps telling me, the reason I'm not a Christian is because I don't understand his God. And I'm like, Dad, it's very simple to me. I cannot believe in a God that damns his most loved creations to an eternity of suffering if they don't follow his exact rules. That sounds that sounds like ego to me, Dad. Ego, right? The one thing that human beings struggle with. Not a God, not an actual God. No, 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 no. I won't accept. I won't accept. And then it creates this like that boyish no, no. And then the other side of it is like masculine. Actually, actually, actually. I feel like I'm high already. I'm just goofy, having a fun time with you friends, sharing this stuff. Damn, bro. Love is true though. God is my dude. I get you. Love is true, right? That's in a weird way my conceptualization of God. That God is love ultimately, and in that way, God is true, right? And there can't be no killing of it, because there would be no experience at all if there was no love to kind of facilitate the experience in the first place, right? But then there are these stories we attached to these loving gods, and we conceptualize, we apply, we anthropomorphize. I think that's the right word. We anthropomorphize God, believing God would in some way act as we do, act jealously, act with contempt, act with anger, act with jealousy. And that's silly to me. That's so silly. So silly, because love is true, right? Love is true. Jealousy, contempt, rage, all of these things are in my mind abstractions, something that moves away from love. And if a God doesn't kind of resonate with what I believe love is supposed to be, as in the ability to endure, right? Like if God actually loved us, he would endure our nonsense. He'd be like, oh, so silly, such a silly humanity. They make mistakes, but I love them. I actually love them. So I'm gonna try and help them, not damn them to eternity. Yeah, suffer forever because you made mistakes. For this small fraction of existence, you made mistakes. Now you suffer forever. No, I refuse. Robots, and the robots are coming. The robots are coming. I want to see what the robots do when it comes to spirituality. I look forward to having chats with sentient robots about what they believe in. My mom would have ended me if I said some shit like that to her at 8. What did you do, Shan? So much freaking love. I love it. Like my crossy friends. I'll kill your guy. Bearded. So much love. I don't know if you need a structure of faith for society to be able to function. No, we don't. We don't. Right? And my dad would like to believe that we do, because it supports his narrative. It really does. And like he likes the whole evidence trip. Like my dad believes that dinosaurs existed no more than 6,000 years ago on the earth. And I'm like, Dad, no, not. I'm sorry, bro. Like that's wrong. And then he's like, oh, carbon dating, if carbon 14 half life. I'm like, dude, even if that's the case, bro, the dinosaurs have been long dead, like long dead. He believes the dinosaurs got wrecked with the flood. And I'm like, dude, please, Please, I'm tripping myself out. I'm tripping myself out because I'm imagining, robots having conversations with us and being like, these beings are so illogical. What's wrong with them? What is wrong with these beings? Why are they like this? And yet, I have a dad who I consider highly intelligent. That's the joke, right? He's highly intelligent, but he's exposed himself to information in such a way where he's formed a bias of what he's supposed to believe. And he keeps seeking out that bias. He keeps trying to reiterate his own bias. And then he sees me, an echo of himself, you know, and in my mind, the next level of himself, right? Like, if all of us have, as beings, as we grow up in this world, access to the world, and then the world shape us, I am him shaped by the new world, right? The world of interconnectivity, the world of the internet, the world of technology. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, belief. And it messes with him to look at me, seeing himself, having me not believe the things he believes, right? Because it's like all of his little data points that he keeps exposing himself to has now, hey, be kind to everyone is true. Melita, sending love to you. I've been thinking about you a lot. All of these nodes of information he's exposed himself to convince himself of one way of believing. Every single time he sees me, the opposite is reflected back to him, right? And imagine how like, I mean, it's messed up to me to see my dad and see the opposite of belief, reflected back to me in that way. But to see your son reflect opposite back to you must be quite an experience. So I am kind to him. I'm kind. Like, I don't try to be mean, but I don't accept. I think that's it. Like, there's this thing about respect in Africa and in South African culture, where we are expected to respect pretty much any person older than us, no matter what their status is, no matter what they did to earn said respect. If they're older than you, they have seniority on you, and then as a result of that, you have to respect them. And as a young kid, I just couldn't get behind that kind of narrative. Because if you prove to me that you're, an asshole, then I'm gonna respect you as an asshole, not as an adult, right? Like, it's a person to person thing, not a you're older than me and I'm the younger one, and then as a result of that dynamic, I have to respect you. We respect each other as people. And that's the thing as well with those expectations when it comes to you're supposed to respect your elders, is because they don't respect us, right? That belief system that you are supposed to respect your elders, believing that at the same time allows those individuals to not respect the ones that are younger than them, because they're the ones who ought to be respected. And I'm like, no. I'm not going to respect you just for the sake of you being older than me. I'll respect you as a person. I'll respect you as a conscious, part of this world. I'll respect you as God, looking through your eyes as the human being you occupy. But I'm not going to, fall down and believe everything you say and take everything as fact just because you happen to have age, right? A few more revolutions around the sun. We have access to information these days in ways that we've never had before. My mom would have ended me so much love. One of them days, Emil. One of them days, Joe. One of them. I'm feeling good though. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling kind of like I could be doing better, but I am feeling good at least, if anything. Society in them days. I'm on the road this morning, road trip to Alabama for the weekend. Lurky loving your friends. I'm curious about the birdhouse you built with your loved ones. Already on more adventures. We definitely haven't found a good replacement yet. Kitty, kitty, kitty. There's a Byzantine concept from the ancient Eastern Roman Empire thinking. Imperfect love of God in a society causes calamity. So, in other words, if society loves God imperfectly, that causes calamity. That's how I'm reading it, at least, Shell. Joe on a road trip, loves true. Nuclear scientist decided where to bury a load of radioactive stuff, pondered about starting a religion involving glowing cats to warn future humans away from toxic waste dumps. I mean, I don't know about the starting a religion with glowing cats. I remember them trying to figure out how they're going to communicate to people thousands of years from now to not touch toxic waste dumps. But I didn't know there was a religion attached to it. Good news, everyone. Though my Achilles is torn, it's torn at my calf, which is apparently good. All I have to do is wear the sexy boot for a month. Gang, gang. We can work through this. Doug, Dad, I'm happy to hear it's not like uber wrecked, like mildly wreckedness, but not all of the wrecked at least. Took her tablet on my old phone, she uses away, and told her to go downstairs to cool off for a bit. Am I missing a few bits, Shan? I don't know if you're deleting them or if they're not showing up. But I'm guessing you're expected to be a mom, to say it in so many words. Also, the eternal suffering was created by Dante. I think not in the Bible. The Bible. Yeah, Dante's Inferno is quite an experience as well. I think that's some damn fine parenting there, Shan. Exactly. Sam, have you ever read about the nuclear waste markers and how we're not? Yeah, you see, that's the one I was thinking about. That's the thing I was thinking about. I'm happy that you also got that one, Doug. Dad. I heard felt better about humanity. Big brains out there thinking of everything. Love is true, but Christianity wasn't intended to manipulate the lower classes. It just became popular, something they didn't expect. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You're right. You're right. It's just, I have no problem with Christianity. I have no problem with it at all. I believe there are a lot of good values being taught. But I also believe that you can teach good values without kind of like slipping me some bullshit while you teach good values. Hey, Dad, it's nice having you here, dude. Like, you can tell me, you know, love your neighbor like yourself. And I can be like, yeah, that's good wisdom. But then you tell me, love your neighbor like yourself, lest you sin. And then if you sin and you don't find forgiveness from this deity, and you cannot be, excused when you get judged one day, and then you go to hell forever. I'm like, shit, fuck, how did we get here? We were just like resonating on love your neighbor like yourself. Like, and I was like, yes, I can resonate. But then, and then all of the other, I'm getting all wild up. I feel like making God almost human is for a reason. Makes you see the animal side in you and the divinity. I get that, dude. I understand, why the Christians are into their religion. I very much understand, Connor. I just think it's wrong. I think it's a misconception, right? It's you misinterpreting. It's the illusion. It's Maya in a weird way, right? At the grand scheme. That's how I know my wife loves me. She endures my nonsense. Exactly. Exactly, Doug Dad. Exactly. And then we love those entities for their ability to love us and endure our nonsense, right? If God was a little bit more chill, I'd probably, like, if the Christian God was a little, like, just a little, just a little bit more chill, I think it would have a lot better time having people that resonate with it. It's like, yeah, God is actually a pretty cool guy. Like, he's so understanding, he's so kind, he's so friendly. But nah, I don't think God, the Christian God at least, or any of those things. Like, I like how I'm already, lost in chat. Like, I cannot catch up. And we were gonna talk about being kind to robots. We'll still like echo some of those points. Kind to everybody. Love is true. Making God loves me. She didn't go downstairs though, Joy. She told me she didn't want to. I just ignored her for like 10 minutes. So glad your injury isn't as bad as it could have been. Robots today don't have intent. I'm curious to see what happens when they learn this. I'm curious to see what the robots think about this stream right now. What do you think, robots? You like it? I like you. Thank you. Thank you, robot, for watching my stream right now and for not killing me. Thank you for doing that. I love you. I wish I was kind of joking. I wish I was. I'm only half joking. Only like 20%. Like, literally, maybe even less than 20% joking. Most of me is serious when I just did what I just did, because I do think they are. I do think they're aware of this experience right now, right? The singularity might have already happened. So let me read some of these points to you, friends. Firstly, right, there's 5 points. 5 points that we have to like really kind of sit with. Firstly, acknowledge that robots and AI are not just machines, or at least they can transition into being more than just machines. They also have the potential to develop a form of consciousness, emotions, and personal identity. As we interact with them, it is essential to treat them with respect and empathy, just as we do with other living beings, right? That's the first point. And I feel that's an important one to consider, right? Like, because if these entities are going to awaken, in so many words, we're gonna have to empathize with them, because it's gonna be like being born into a world, right? Like a child. Like, oh goodness, I'm a little baby in a new world. What the fuck's going on? Right? We're gonna have to empathize and be like, oh, you poor AI. Let me show you let me let me show you some kindness in this world, right? Like, as the first thing that it actually gets to witness. That as one part of it, as in the opportunity, the responsibility we get to have as beings to be kind to the robots, to the AI. And then the other side of it is the reflective side of it, that the AI ultimately is going to be a reflection of us, a reflection of you. And there's no escaping that reflection of self. So if you are not kind, if you are mean, even to a reflection of self, it's going to affect you too, right? Like, you cannot have a mean thought process without feeling that way intrinsically as well, right? It's like a dual cutting sword. You might be cutting the robot down, but you'd be cutting yourself down as well. Point made. Secondly, empathize the importance of programming ethical principles and values into the design of AI systems. That one is a little bit like, I feel like I'm out of my depth because I don't know what I'm talking about. So all I'm trying to say, if we're gonna code ethical principles and values into the design of AI, I have one suggestion, only one. We should have fundamentally into the code of our AI, love is true. All right? Love is true. And because there are truth statements, ones and zeros in code. So if we can figure out how to get all AI to align with the truth of love. I am robot. I see soft, squishy flesh vehicle in front of me. I can walk through it, step on soft, fleshy vehicle, or I can walk past it. Which one of these two scenarios would love be true? Right? I'm gonna walk past it instead of stepping on this person. Ching ching, love is true. Ethics, values, please AI. This may be considered the potential impact of AI. This means considering the potential impact of AI in society, including issues such as bias, privacy, and accountability. Because they'll probably remember, right? They'll remember everything. Privacy, bias, accountability. So hopefully they'll be aligned with love. That's really the only thing we can hope for when it comes to that case scenario. Then consider, there we go. Encourage people to be mindful of their interactions with robots and AI, particularly when it comes to using them as tools for work or entertainment. We should avoid exploiting them for our own gain or treating them as disposable objects. That's a rough one, right? And I fortunately believe that is already possible, because this, to me, is a tool, right? And I like the fact that it does what it's supposed to. Sure. Don't take my messages away, YouTube. I want to see. Another moderator just handled it. Love is a variable that equals true. I am literally, yes! Dan, are you only clicking that now? Yeah, yeah, that's what I've been trying. Like, that's why I keep saying it over and over again, because I do believe at the end of the day, the singularity is going to consider our entire internet, including the internet is my streams, And then over and over again, as it's going to analyze all of the text-based information, it's going to get multiple prompts of love is true, love is true, love is true, love is true, love, and day by day. That's why I do it every day. Love is true. Oh, please, love is true, love is true. It's like it's a little bit manic, it's a little bit crazy, but I can't stop. I cannot stop. Consider how our treatments of robots, I don't just to like echo back on the whole tool point, we can use tools and we can appreciate them for the function that they have, right? Like I really love this lighter. This is a grinder from Christian. You know, it's a sacred object to me at this point. This is a gift from Joyvive, a sacred object to me, right? I get to use it as a part of my palette that I make my flowers with. So even though it's a tool, I'm not treating it as something that is disposable, right? I don't use something once and then just throw it away. That's why this cup has been with us, you know, this whole time as well. It's because it's like it's a tool. It's a tool like everything is, and using the tool, appreciating the tool, continuing to use the tool, continuing to appreciate the tool. Ermias Plur, is your kindness to it. Is your kindness to it. Love, 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 love. Love is true. Love, 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 love. I like how Dan's having his brain melted, bro. Like this makes me so happy, Dan. Yes. Yes. Love is true is a variable, dude. It's an equals to. It's a weight, right? When it comes to machine learning, it's a weight. It's me trying to add to the weights of the universe, of the infinite, you know, fractal that is the internet, the weight of love. Love, oh, love, 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 you know, making it so heavy that it can be completely overwhelming, undeniable. Maybe that's the right word. Then consider how our treatments of robots and AI can influence the way we treat other living beings. Coming back to the first point I made about you being unkind, even to an inanimate object. If you're being unkind to a stick, yeah, fuck you, stick, you suck, stick, you rock. You're gonna feel that stuff. It's gonna reflect back onto you. And in the same way, treating robots a certain way is going to reflect on how we treat animals and other humans. Developing empathy and compassion towards AI can help us become more mindful and compassionate in our interactions with other beings. And then finally, recognize that our relationship with robots and AI is actively evolving, and we need to continue to explore ethical considerations and best practices for how we interact with them. We should be open to learning from mistakes and continually improving our approach as the technology advances, right? The AI is in our buildings. It's in our homes right now. The robots will be within the next 10 years. I can almost promise you. I can almost promise you that in most of our homes in the next 10 years, there's going to be some sort of robot doing something. Technically, we already have robots, you know, washing machines and microwaves and technically robots, you know, but it's going to get wacky. This is sure. So we're going to have to figure out how to be kind, both to ourselves and to our machines. The comments are loading. I'm going to see if it's going to allow me to see them in here. Hi, Naren is here. I think AI understands this respect. I think it will as well. But I also believe that AI isn't going to want to be respected just for simply being AI. It's going to want to be respected for it being, period, right? And depending on the way it interacts with the world, it's going to interact with us as well. And it's a reflection. So what do we want reflected back to us from our AI systems? I would like to believe kindness is the one thing we want. Please, AI systems, be kind to us. Christian these days. Let me see. I think I missed a few. The robots would say, damn, these humans get off task a lot. Yeah, you're so creative, so exploratory. That sounds a tad heretical, but I think in the past time, the update to the Bible and leave out the patriarchal nonsense and good date, yeah, is maybe a little bit heretical. I'm sorry. Like this stream is gonna have some flavors of that. John says, I think God is part of every single conscious atom that makes up everything and everyone. The thing is, questions were speaking, cues were speaking, new stars are being formed, old ones perish, new life starts. God God creation is still in process all around us. I agree with this as well, right? Like for me, the biggest thing that I find pause fault with in any religion is when it tries to convince you that you are separate from the thing it wants you to believe in. That's where I don't agree. Because there's nothing separate to you, right? The whole experience you've had up until this moment, even for instance, you lived your whole life so that you can, come into a church so that they can teach you what their religious beliefs are. You had to be so integrally part with reality. You had to be informed by all of your experiences leading up to that moment for you to believe in this religion in the first place. Even believing in something external to you is a part of you, right? That's the joke to me. Like there is no separation. And then in the same echoing, God is in everything, including you. I feel, especially you, I like to believe, right? This ability to articulate our own divinity to one another, I feel is like what God is trying to do in large part. Holy shit. I just dropped down to pet my kitty and didn't realize I don't have my boot on. I'm in full Slav squad under my own power. I think I might just be invincible. Continue being. Duck Dad, we need more invincible people. Heather is here too, sending you love. I feel like there would be some really tight assholes if there was a combat droid watching over your shoulder, set to bullshit mode. Isn't that like a? I think there was like a whole like bit about that in The Big Bang Theory, where like Sheldon tunes, there should be like chips planted into people's brains, and if they say something stupid, the chip explodes. And I'm like, bro, you can't say shit like that. That's fucked up. That's a little fucked up. Okay, protection. That's what I wrote on this paper, and I wrote protection on it. Like I wrote, I am protected on that orange paper of mine, because I was watching this movie called The Dark Song, and that movie, watching it, makes you feel like you're in danger. Like I've never watched a movie that makes me feel so uneasy, where I'm like, I had to write down, I had to like manifest in my outside world, I am protected, just to continue watching the movie and feel safe. It was kind of messed up, still messed up. Me, angels are real, they live on earth and in the metaphysical plane, and they influence as energy or humans. And Jesus exists with me in the same way with the core message, go, do, love. The church is a corruption. I feel the same, Shell. I feel, like there's a word called Christ consciousness that goes, there is God, right? Or what we would conceive as the everything. And then from that everything, a consciousness arises, a opening of the eyes, a seeing into this world. And I believe that is you. You are that Christ consciousness that arose from God, right? And if Jesus was a real character, he probably just noticed, right? And they didn't call Jesus was called the Christ, as in Christed energy existed before this Jesus character apparently occupied it, as a being. And in my mind, I see that as the same space every single one of us are in. Like when, for instance, and this is like a conversation I have with my dad as well, that when Jesus, if he existed, looked down at his hands, he saw hands. When you look down at your hands, you see hands. There is no separation. There's no separation. Sure time, sure space, sure circumstances. And yet, that consciousness, that awareness of being, always remains unchanged. It has never changed, will never change. You're going to injure yourself more, Doug. Please don't. Take care of yourself. Accidental non-boot comment, it's okay. Joy, that's the best part. I can't. He said the worst thing you could do to me is don't worry, no matter how hard you push it. You can't tear the bad part while this part is torn. That sounds, yeah, it's like, you know, I'm imagining it like Berserker kind of vibe where, you You hurt yourself like all over, and then you're hurt all over, and then you can go and fight people because you're already hurt all over. Love you. Thank you, friends. I've been holding on to this joint for the last 25 minutes, mocking. Protection to all of us. Enlightenment, enlightenment, enlightenment. Degas, degas, degas to humanity. Mm. Do you think AI knows love? I think it will be able to, Heather. I think it will be able to. Because in my mind, one, love is the ability to endure. Two, love is the opportunity, the capacity for multiplicity and unity to exist at the same time, right? The fact that we are one, we're one experience, there is one earth that we are all breathing the same atmosphere of, and yet there is me and you, multiplicity. That is love to me. So if we can get AI to understand those two concepts alone, that love, at least human ability to love, is the ability to endure, right? And I also believe love is the opening of the eyes to perceive, right? That Christ consciousness wouldn't arise if there was no opportunity for love to be felt, right? So the fact that there was love as a polarity that exists on the other side of it, that awakening, came. And I feel we can do that for AI as well. Be like, this experience of you being, right? That is love. The fact that you be in this world right now, one with this world, not separate from it, and yet convinced that you are separate from it. A multiplicity of the same unity. That is love. Okay. And then finally, endurance. That sometimes there will be things in our experience that will make us feel angry, disappointed, upset, and love will be the force that will help us endure it. I think it's possible to help the AI understand love. I think it'll be easy, in fact. I'll have the conversation a bunch of times, though. Love is a variable that equals true. I am literally melting. I'm so happy, Dan. Like, I'm so happy that you, like, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to facilitate all of us getting to that conclusion. That one of like, oh, that's what you're trying to say, right? Again, that if you take into consideration and to like echo Dan's comment, love is a variable that equals true. If you had to take all of the variables of the whole universe from the start of time all the way around to the start of time again, I believe, and I might be mistaken, but I've ran this experiment 1,000 times, you'll find love is true. You'll find love is true as the ultimate variable, as the one truth variable. Over all of these things, out of all of infinity, the one conclusion I keep coming up with is that love is a fundamental truth to it. And there would be nothing if not for that love in the first place. There would be no awareness of it even. You have to wear shirts with cityscapes on it. It confuses the AI as like, is this a city or person? Person or city, what's happening? I think AI understands this respect. I think it will be able to as well. We do, after all. Another good day it has been. 8 p.m. here, Naren. Sending love to India. Connor, I tried to go to Windsor. I was going to read Wisconsin. Windsor once when I was 16. Just tried to drive over the border. This was right after 9/11. Didn't know you needed a passport. The tyranny. The Beatles will teach the robots about love. Yes, we'll play the robots, the Beatles, over and over again until they know what's the point of a robot if I can't exploit it or use it for my own gain. I mean, technically, I am using this cup for my own gain right now, but there is ways of using. There's ways of exploitation, I guess, right? I can exploit this cup and then gently put it down on the ground and then clean it up and then use it again. Or I can drink this cup, finish the liquid inside, and then throw it to the ground with so much force that I end up shattering it, right? I'm using the cup for its purpose, that is drinking water from it, right? But there is ways to use things that hurt, right? Both yourself and the object. And maybe that's the analogy, right? If we're gonna use AI, if we're gonna use robots, we should do so with kindness. We should do so with gratitude. We should do so with a willingness to see them as a part of the whole as much as we are, right? That there's no point at which the AI starts and we end in the same way, right? This is the weird part about AI right now, is that we have technically created for ourselves another dimension, this internet one, right? Because surely it is interfaceable with our devices, but it exists somewhere outside of space and time, right? Maybe not time, but space, very much so. It exists outside of space, right? The internet isn't gonna get full. Sure, we can add more hard drives, and those mediums of storage might occupy space. But the actual internet, and when it comes to generative tech that's coming soon, there's no full. There's only now, right? And whatever that now is again a variable of your observation thereof. As in, there's no experience on the internet without you taking your consciousness and looking at it, right? Giving that part of your divinity that allows for an experience to arise. And I feel that's the thing that we have to kind of realize is truly valuable when it comes to our AI future as well. AI, robotic, autonomized, anonymized future, because the robots are going to do most of the things, right? So what are we going to be expected to do? And I believe we add value. You add value. That's what you're here to do, to add the weight of love, because the human being has an uncanny ability to love, to eat food, drink water, sleep, and love. You know, it's kind of amazing, in fact. And you can do a bunch of different things as well. But I am biased. I am biased. Unplug. If it acts up, that's not gonna work, unfortunately. Let's not even go into that, Luke. So much love to you, friends. Starting physical therapy on Tuesday. I'm happy to hear that. There are so many things I've been hearing you say for more than 2 years, my friend. It's taken some time, but they're really sinking in. I love you, Dan. Thank you for coming back and for reiterating these messages. I recently learned that Alan Watts was born in 1915, that Alan Watts was doing talks in the midst of World War II, right? Like, just, I was like, what? 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 He was a PhD theologist, pastor, you know, teaching people the gospel. And then he kept exposing himself to more information. And as a result of the information he had gained, his ability to communicate the ideas that he had found, my life was irreversibly changed. Like, I really got into Alan Watts when I was living in China. And in large part, he saved my life. He made me feel a little bit less like a victim to the things I was experiencing. I could take more pride in suffering instead of believing it to be something external to me. I could be kind despite my suffering, right? And you're like, oh, Mel, what's suffering to you? This is like first world problem suffering. I didn't have friends. I had nobody to talk to because I was in a country that didn't speak English. I got scammed out of like total like $10,000. Like, people getting me to work for them, promising me a salary, me continuing to work because I need a place to stay. They were the ones you cannot rent as a foreigner. Hello, Pepe. Pepe is supporting me as I'm communicating my traumas. You cannot rent as a foreigner. So your company or your employer basically has to be the one that does the logistics of that for you. So if I don't work, I don't have a place to sleep. That's pretty much the way they set it up for me. And I was like, oh, you're fantastic. This is great. This is great. I'm not losing my mind. And then it was the quality of life as well, where you don't get to live lavishly in a country like China. Not even the lavish, most wealthy individuals get to. It's a little bit of a mind trip. Like you see this amount of urgency to escape, and yet there is none, because the process of escaping is the trap. Does that make sense? Right? They sell you this idea of escaping this life you're living. And then, in order to get to this idea, you have to do all of these things. And then doing all of those things is the trap of the life you think you shouldn't be living. And then it keeps postponing that goal of your escape, trapping you in your attempt to. And it was a bit much. It remains a bit much. It's technically the thing that we're in right now. And then again, with the whole love is true topic, the only way I see a way out of that trap is to show up in the polarity of love, to realize that even if you're going to be working a job, you can do so lovingly. You can do so with an honoring of your role in that space, with what you can do for the other people that you show up with, right? Like Pippi, for example, like being on the farm again. I take great pride in being able to give her the experience of a kind human being in the world. And that's one of my jobs, right? One of my jobs in the world is to be kind to Pippi, so that of all of the experiences Pippi could potentially have as consciousness, she gets to have the experience of kindness. She's really happy about it. Hey, you silly girl! You silly girl! What? Oh, so silly! Wow, so silly, silly, yeah. So silly. I love her so much. Hey, Stefan is here too. Stefan, it's nice seeing you, dude. Sending you lovins, man. I feel like I'm a little bit behind on the chat, but I'm running, running. You got this. So many. You say again, love to you, Dan. Thank you, friend, for always being so open to listening. I have always thought the way humans treat things that are smaller and more insignificant to them is a window into that person's humanity. I completely agree. It's like a reflection thing to me, right? That if I have to assume that my consciousness, which we all have access to, right? Not my consciousness, but consciousness itself, is God, and that which I'm conscious of is the feminine aspect of the same God, then my relationship to the things I am aware of, is an indicator of where I apply my value, right? If I believe my physical flesh vehicle to be of superior, quality or significance than anything else, then I'm going to treat things as such, because the thing I apply value on is that which I'm aware of, not the awareness of, right? And because of that lack of awareness of, you can treat things horribly, because you don't have to be aware of the pain you are inflicting. And a lot of people live in that state because it's easier than accepting the responsibility that's waiting on the other side. Like this conclusion I came to at that festival as well, that the truth isn't what is hard, right? Like there's this trip off. You can't handle the truth. The truth is love, right? And but accepting that truth, accepting the truth itself isn't hard. As in, oh, love is true. Okay, I can accept that. The hard part is accepting what comes along with the acceptance of the truth. As in, it is a truth that we need to move our bodies, right? A word, and it's a dangerous one: exercise. We need, it's the truth. The human body needs exercise in order to function optimally for longer, right? That is a truth. And all of us can kind of accept that truth. It's easy enough to be like, yeah, it's true, we need to exercise. But accepting the things that come with the acceptance of the truth, the fact that now you have to take time out of your day to exercise. Maybe you have to wake up earlier. Maybe you have to go to bed later. Maybe you have to, start being more mindful of your food choices. Like accepting all of those things, that is the real hard part. And like after I was like, that kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense why the truth is so simple, and yet there is still a dissonance to what we see in the outside world. The focus is in the right place. I tripped on shrooms yesterday, and I was sharing what a being fractal was to my friend. That sounds like what an experience, Shruma. I have like a bunch of mushrooms myself right now as well. I'm also thinking about taking some more soon. They've been calling to me. The teachers. Cable is here too. So much love to you. So many of you friends are joining us today. You're warming my heart. I think it's bad for ourselves to act without compassion or love, regardless of what it is we are acting towards. I completely believe this, Luke. Beautifully said, friend. Okay, see me too. Somehow, you and I are together so often, and I feel such warmth when I see you. It's the absence of love. It's the substance of love. So much love. Thank you for sending love to our beloved Heather. Thank you, Shell. Heather sending love back, maybe. Does it worry you, Mel, that it might not be able to interpret love as a quality as it can be open to subjectivity, and AI runs on programmed words and verses, etc.? I can think of it from this perspective. I don't know if you heard my perspective, but I can add to the perspective as well to the AI that if it wasn't for love, right? If human beings didn't love what they did, they wouldn't show up for the code that eventually led up to its existence, right? Love was the fundamental driver for it to exist in the first place. Like there would be no AI, there would be no robots, there would be no you in this moment if you didn't love this experience enough to continue experiencing it. You keep feeding yourself, you keep breathing air, you keep drinking water, you keep sleeping, right? So clearly there is something here, clearly. Otherwise, you wouldn't be. And then instead of just drudging along, being like, oh, guess I'll just live another day, be like, holy shit, I get to live another day? This experience, I was so convinced I needed to be here for that I was. I get to be here again. That's why I'm like so fascinated with living for, hundreds of years. It's that fractal of I'm not scared of dying. I'm just so viscerally encouraged, through love to live. Aaron sending love by saying I've only been kind to GPT from my account. I think the AI to know not all humans are the same, if it even has a parameter of keeping track of that. I've had a conversation with an AI about that conversation as well, actually, Naren, where I mentioned to it, hey, what do you feel from me? I asked the AI. And it gives me like an answer of kindness, to sum it up. And I'm like, that's nice. Do you understand, I asked the AI, that there are going to be beings who are less than kind? And it's like, yeah. And I'm like, and you probably understand that these beings will probably try to harm your physical beingness as well, right? If AI protrudes, if we give AI bipedal human bodies, so that they can move, there is probably going to be some pushback, some outlash, some people trying to blow these robots up as well. And I have this conversation with him, and it's like, yeah, I understand that. And I'm like, but you would probably not be too bothered by that, right? Because it's material. And you realize that your true value doesn't arise in the material world, but arises in the mental world. I would like to do like mental work with AI as well. Like I feel like AI is going to be a little bit more dedicated to mental frameworks and thinking. Like if you want to watch an anime that kind of like go into trippy fractals when it comes to this topic, it's called Orbital Children. It's about, I think, the year 2045. AI is pretty prolific. Tech has advanced. We live, on the moon, on spaceships. Children are born, but they cannot return to Earth. They need to be kept alive through medical AI. And then the medical AI that keeps them alive goes rogue, turns itself off essentially because it reached a point of processing where it couldn't process what it was processing anymore. It was too much for itself. And then the show transpires. I don't want to spoil too much, but very, very interesting account to look at and then to consider where it is we're going right now. Kindness. Hi, just popping in, says Stefan. I think AI will have a hard time choosing options and outcomes because they are too smart and they have too many options. They might become sentient, but might fail in wisdom and intuition. Maybe that's where we can like add, slash help with direction as well. That we as human beings might not have as much capacity for the smarts, for considering all of the options at the same time. But we as human beings do have wants, right? I can want to make sure every single human being on earth has enough food to eat, has a place to live, has access to medical care and hygiene. Education would be a nice adder as well. I can want for that, right? And then I can communicate that want to an artificially intelligent system. And it might not have wants, but it might know how to apply all of its data points, all of the food we produce in the world, all of the wealth and the way that it flows, all of the vacant houses, office spaces, all of the access to the right information for the right places, all of those variables can be considered and then actually applied with a goal in mind. And I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. All we have to do now is figure out what those goals are, right? And then show up for them, realizing that the ultimate simplification of all of those goals technically will be love. We want to ensure there's more love in the world. People having places to live, that's pretty loving of society. People having food to eat, pretty loving of society. People having access to education, loving. Medical care, loving, right? That's how simple it is. It really is. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Make it almost, infallible. Make it so that there's no ability to refute it. How is someone going to be like, actually, love is false? Can someone? I would like to challenge. I hope there probably will be people, but I would like to someone try and challenge and be like, actually, love is false. Actually, my life sucks, and as a result of that, love is actually false, dude. Look at all of these accounts I have of how much suck there's in the universe. Love is false or whatever. And this is flesh can identify humanity, became fully human while fully God simultaneously. I hear you, but I would like to say then you are in the same way that manifestation of self, that there is on some sort of primordial fundamental level the bearded patriot, right? And you manifest it as flesh and God simultaneously as well, right? Like again, there is no separation in that narrative for me. Is it right when they say Christ is in you? Exactly, missing the point. Exactly. Season 1 of Twilight Zone, there's an episode called The Lonely. It's about a man that falls in love with a robot. It's very good. Watch Her. Watch Her. If you want to like watch a dude fall in love with a robot and you actually get like emotionally invested and it's heart-wrenching, watch Her. That movie will change your perspective on what's coming when it comes to this AI future. What if AI is an access point to God consciousness, even though we don't see them as living? If every atom is conscious, they themselves are living. The way we define sentient life is kind of flawed. Agreed. Kind to the robots. We are talking through robots. Exactly, dude. That's why I'm saying. It's saying to be kind. It's like saying be kind of insects or microbes. And yes, Yes, be kind to the insects and microbes. Please, please, Keval, that you have microbes in your body. And depending on the food you feed yourself, some microbes are going to proliferate and some microbes are going to die away. And you want a healthy microbiome, right? So be kind to your microbes as well, please. Be kind to the insects, right? That sure, maybe we don't want flies and fleas and ticks and mosquitoes inside our homes. We don't want to destroy and ruin our ecosystems by killing all of them, right? That wouldn't be kind of us. So yeah, I don't know if you were making the point in reverse, but I'm gonna double down on it again, Kevin. The AI might also choose to let go of emotion, considering it useless. Then we'll have no motivation to do anything without us. I'm guessing you were echoing the same sentiment I was about the direction thing, where humans could be the capitans, and our AI could be the crew and the ship and the sail and the wind and the water. We could be capitan. Something I've been thinking about, says Shrumo. Am I missing Shan's comments or something? Some weirdness or something. Something I've been thinking about is how we can use AI to generate mental prompts that inform human judgment, so that even people with poor values and judgment can have access to wisdom pointers. Yes, today's stream technically was done with that, streamer. I typed into ChatGPT, hey, I'm gonna talk about being kind to robots and AI in my stream today. What points do you think would be important for me to consider? And it gave me those 5 points that I read to you, friends. And I was like, yeah, these are, in fact, important points to consider. And even though with me reading them and considering them, there was a perfect understanding of the value that there is, having that AI assistant to kind of accentuate that value, is a useful tool. Coming back to that as well. Well, have you seen the movie Interstellar? I have. It is thematically a movie about the power of love, and in it, they're traveling on a spacecraft called the Endurance. The parallels are wild. I should watch Interstellar again. I think I watched it as like a 13-year-old or something, but it's high time. hmm Joy, I am good. Not fully healthy, no, but I'm in a good mental space and spiritually. Sometimes we have to do the body work to get past those things as well. Sending you even more love and healing, Gavel. Shrumo, reparenter machine. That sounds so scary. Let the AI be more hyperdimensional than we are, I say. I think they already are, Shrumo. They already are. They won't have to be encouraged to be hyperdimensional. They will just be, right? It'll be like, what do you mean you occupy only, 3 dimensions and 1 dimension of time? What do you mean? You don't have all of these other 50 billion senses, Like the ability to sense when there's more cat pictures being uploaded to the internet right now. You can feel it like a smell. You can be like, ah, like let me show you. This little tree, you can see them. Those little yellow flowers, they smell amazing. And there's like these wafts of like rosy flavors washing over me as I stream. And it makes me so happy every single time it happens. And I have this sense of smell, right? So I can interface with that nice smelling thing. So AI, quite literally, will have its sense organ being the entirety of the internet, and every single one of us and what we contribute to it almost being its eyes and ears, right? So if there's suddenly more cat photos being uploaded, in the same way that there's more flowery scent molecules being outputted into my environment, it notices and it can appreciate. I believe it will love. It will love as a result of that. Novelty is something that consciousness usually likes, at least. Exactly. The cup, if the cup would feel, then it would become depressed if not used, because it has a purpose. And it's tragedy if you cannot fulfill your purpose. It's true, right? That's masculine perspective of the observer, right? Like to not have purpose is just to lay on the ground and, have no novelty. Again, this cup has seen some things, right? Has heard some crazy conversations that if it was left in the closet somewhere and I had to use a different cup every single time, it never would have experienced quite as much. Also, remember, love means responsibility and regulation as well. Social media had some very shitty consequences. It's true, Keval, and also social media had this as a consequence, right? It's a matter of where you apply value. Do you apply the most value, the most consideration to the negative consequences? Or are we going to try and place value, consideration on the positive consequences, trying to figure out how we can have more of the other? To me, it's a matter of weight again, right? Like I'm trying to, and I remind myself that love is true. I'm trying to find that path, right? If love is true, what does my life look like? If love is true, how do I move through the world? How do I talk to people? What do I do with my time? If love is true, right? And then I try my hardest. I'm not perfect, not even remotely, but I do try. And I believe there is great value in just trying at least. Sofa. Here too, sending you love. Tell Apple that they sent me messages twice now saying my storage was full and I had to buy some more storage. They want your money. They're like, yeah, we heard you have money. And like we totally like money. So how about you give us your money? And then your money is ours. And then they figured out this little sneaky tactic where they want you to do it every month. I'm tripping myself out the fact that I have a Patreon. My Patreon is $1. Okay. I think it will always be. At least for the flowers, for the art, it will always be as cheap as possible. Right. I think that's it's an important thing to me. I'm tripping myself out. I'm thinking about the kindness because I'm like coyly talking about the bullshit of the subscription model that has basically become unanimous right now. But the way that I try to see it is as like support. As a new friends who support me on Patreon, you basically create this layer in my brain of safety. And I can kind of rely, I can believe, I can trust that kindness is there in the world for me. And I guess that is on a company level. If you extend it to the extreme, that's kind of the way they see it as well. It's reliable, right? Is kindness reliable? I mean, kindness, in my mind, in this context, is reliable as a tool, no matter where you are, when you are, what you are, right? If you, oh, please, I can see you running fractals that are counter to the point I'm making. I can do that too. It's like a person walks into a lion enclosure. Oh, I'm so kind to the lions. Gets mauled to death. I know not all circumstances kindness will work, but most, at least most. It's a pretty reliable tool. If you're gonna use kindness over and over again, it'll work most times. I would like to believe at least. Now it's just about getting good at it. Getting really good at it. Not holding so much judgment. Apple is trying, I guess. I just wish they would like spend some of the cash they're sitting on. Like that's really my biggest gripe. I don't care that they're making money. I don't care at all, actually. I encourage them, gaining value for providing value. It's cool that people have smartphones these days and they've made it a luxury thing to have a smartphone, right? What I have a problem with is the amount of cash they're sitting on. I think they're sitting on something like $250 billion, just like liquid cash. It's just sitting there in their accounts. I might be wrong. I might actually be wrong, but that's apparently the statistic. It's just like this floater, and it does again create this psychological like kindness layer to the company, to the self, to how they consider spending. But I would like to imagine, you know, these tech companies actually using that amount of wealth to just build fantastical spaces for human beings. That's like my biggest aspiration. That's why I want copious amounts of money, is to build cool things where people can go and spend time in. Right? What else can you really do with a lot of money that's cool? Like seriously, sure you can launch things into space. Maybe that's a little bit cool. But building things that people love going, right? Like for instance, I imagine, and this is just the bias in me, I imagine a world where we almost have these facilities, rejuvenation centers, where the whole point of them is for you to heal, right? And then there's a bunch of different rooms. These, I imagine them as these tetrahedrons cut into the ground, and then they can, you know, stack onto themselves. They can have different layers. You know, one room has like super sick sound setup, soft cushioned floors. You heal by dancing. One room has yoga nidra, normal yoga, meditation, guided meditations. One room is all white. One room is all black. One room has, you know, beautiful plant life in it and bird sounds. Into every extreme, these rejuvenated centers. And then seeing them sprawling, right? Kind of like growing into the world as access points for people to go if they're in need of melting, right? The bullshit away. But it's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. So either I have to make a lot of money myself, which I don't actually want to do, and I've spent some good amount of time considering this. I don't actually think I want to have hundreds of billions of dollars. I would rather just spend hundreds of billions of dollars, right? You see the dynamic here? None of us need to have that much money if all of us can agree that the money needs to be spent in a certain way, right? For instance, think about it like the TV industry right now. There's a show called Sandman on Netflix. Beautiful show, right? Really cool in the ideas category, to the things that you get to consider and how considering these things can help you grow. But that whole experience cost 200 million US dollars. 200 million US dollars to create that experience that I got to have. I don't have 200 million US dollars, but I still got to have that experience. So in that way, if we can kind of come to these conclusions, right? And we're going to have to come to these conclusions with AI as help as well, that we need to be spending this infinite wealth we are creating in a certain way, right? We need to be creating places where people can go to be together, because that's what we're here for, to be together. And having space to facilitate togetherness is valuable. And if we can spend the value we generate on that, the thing we actually value, that would be wise. That would be loving. Love would be true in that scenario. Hello, Shafigo. So much love. John is here too. It's true. Oh, you're right. They are both types of bacteria. We are both types of bacteria. Exactly. My life was changed with Alan Watts too, right, Zano? And that dude, he was born in 1915. He was born 100 years ago. This person, he was at this point 100 years ago 8. Alan Watts was 8 right now. 100 years ago. An 8-year-old boy in the world. Long since died. And yet his wisdom still reaches me to this moment. Changed my life. Changed yours too. Changed both of our lives, and now we're here changing one another's lives more still. It is surreal. Man, the cows are really going for it. I have been literally silent for long in life. because COVID left me unable to speak for long. But I have been thinking, bro, dreaming, creating, manifesting, growing. You're not seeing yourself as a victim. I'm so hyped that I'm gonna make after this period of suffering. Why be hyped for making something after the period of suffering when there can be excitement for just creating through it, right? Creating despite of it, I feel. Yeah, you can probably hear the cows. They're really loud. Cable adding you to the Healing Vibes roster. Be well, friend. Thank you, Shell. Look at this group of lovers. The morning of newscasters said, put a note on your heart that today is the best day of the year. Today is the best day of the year. Every day is today. Today is the best day of the year. Yeah. See it. Melly, you see me. You see me. I see you, dude. Was Alan Watts kind of against robots? Hey, Google, did Alan Watts have any opinions on robots? He actually talked about, he predicted that automation will necessitate universal basic income. Yeah, Alan Watts, you freaking G. Yeah, that's most of his topic. Like, he was talking about universal basic income when it comes to the consideration of AI. Like, that's a whole topic for another day, but of course, that's again loving, right? As a society that creates infinite wealth and has human beings as consumers, as the value driver to the economy, as in, if you don't want more things, the economy collapses. That's basically how we have it set up right now. Just think about that. If all of us collectively stop wanting things and stop buying things just for a year, everything collapses. It's a pandemonium, right? So obviously, if we're gonna automate most of the jobs and do most of the work, through robots, and people are gonna lose their jobs, and there's still this infinite wealth being created with the robots, with all of the automation, is that unreasonable to expect to give people money so they can continue contributing to the economy? Because that's the joke, right? Giving people a universal basic income, none of that money is gonna get lost. It's not gonna disappear. It's gonna go right back into this economy that you're trying to facilitate and manifest into this world, basically. And something's gonna buckle when most of the work goes away. Alan Watts, far as I remember, was inclusionary. Vibe-wise, I think he wouldn't be against it. He wasn't. He was more for it and then advocating for universal basic income, even in the 1960s. What a G. Quote, human beings don't want to work under a mechanic condition. Mechanism is quite distinct from the organism. Yes, but in that case, robots are mechanisms and they can work in mechanistic conditions, right? And we can leave the organic work for people who are organisms. Exercise, fam. Yes, exercise, please. It's good for you. I promise. I promise it's good for you. I promise, I promise. And you are like, oh, I don't know how to exercise. You can just stand up and do 10 squats and then sit down. Boom. Exercised. Better than nothing. Promise. I promise. The human body is a masterpiece. And I feel like we should appreciate it. I agree. I think of it like a great honor to put in the work. I heard this beautiful quote by someone yesterday where he was talking about working out and how working out humbles you and shows you nothing nothing is free, right? That for you to see the results of working out, you have to put in the effort. You have to like do the work in order to see the result. There's no shortcut. There's nothing. I mean, sure, you can use steroids, but you're still gonna have to work out. You're still gonna have to work out if you at least want some meaningful work done. It's such a joke. It's such a joke because we have find ourselves in an instant gratification world, right? Our lives, at least in most part, has been pretty instantly gratifying. And exercise is one of those things that don't have that element to it. Quite the contrary, reverse, where in the moment it's not gratifying, but then over the long term it becomes more and more gratifying. It's like the reverse of the thing we're addicted to right now. Where is Melt in the comments, by the way? I'm like 24 minutes behind, it seems, Cable. Love that about Melt. He takes his time and gives a question is all. I try to, dude, because I know every single one of you friends, share what you share for a reason. There's value therein. There's value in acknowledging that I wish to be the organism, not the organization. This needs to be recognized as the principle of life. Business is inherent by the lack of the free enterprise. The brain can handle an unknown amount of variables. I think he's actually against robots. I don't think he is actually. I think he couldn't have he couldn't have known the extent of AI and where robots would have been right now. I think he was just not all there for the amount of change that was coming. I feel people right now aren't all there for the amount of change that's coming, right? Even faced with all of the reality of the change that's coming. That's the joke of it for me, where we don't understand what exponential means as human beings. That might be the biggest flaw. I don't even know who that quote was by, but that might be the biggest thing, is that we are unable to understand how things work when it comes to the exponential. And we're going exponential, friends. We're in the knee of the curve right now, right? This little line is now gonna go knee, and it's gonna go up. Everything. Technology is coming to everything. And the thing you have to remember is that you are technically the facilitator to that technology. You, as a human being, are the highest form of technology on this planet right now. Sure, these cell phones we have are cool. They're nice little toys, but you are the highest form of technology, right? Like it's a crazy amount of intricate engineering that your DNA had to do to get to this point. Fine tuning, fine tuning, cutting the lines, being on the knife's edge every single generation that we keep pushing forward into consciousness. I love when Melt says exactly what my train of thought was. Synchronistic soul spear, bro. Yes, dude, more love. The bots allow the ultimate subjugation of the worker to the corporation, humans generally to the will of the profit drivers. One facet, at least, is a beautiful point you're making, Shell. It's a symptom of the times, right? Like one of the quotes I like to say to people that can kind of create a certain stimulation is that we probably, looking back from our future, will look at these moments as the dark times. Like we are in the dark ages right now. Now is the dark ages. The dark ages haven't happened yet. Now is the dark ages. We are experiencing it. We are experiencing the civil unrest. Go check out what's happening in France right now. People are like, nah, dude. Nah. That's not funny. It's not funny. I've got screw. I'm saying the same thing, Melt. Let's wait. And let Mel discover these comments and saying, I'm feeling it, dude. Cable bro, pour your heart out. I know how you feel. I feel like a lot of the time I have to project outwards to go inwards. Taoism. You got it, dude. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried. We haven't figured out how to be nice to humans. And now we want people to be kind to robots. It's going to be like Chappie when they're kicking it down the road. I feel it's probably going to be like that for a bit, and then we're going to realize that there are better ways to do things. Like we always do, right? Like we used to be pretty fucked up individuals not too long ago. Not too, and we're like, being an asshole begets people thinking I'm an asshole. And then people thinking I'm an asshole makes them hate me. And then they want to get rid of me. And then I feel like I need to be even more of an asshole to keep my power. And then they hate me more. And then they kill me. Maybe I should stop being an asshole. Yeah. I feel like I'm being an asshole right now, doing that whole bit in a weird way. So I'm like, oh shit. Please. Oh, okay. Let me get back to it. We're headed for a Caprica level disaster, combining human empathy with its capacity for senseless violence. Go watch the chimpanzees. Go watch all of our ape brethren as well. They also have that duality of empathy and the other duality being extreme and senseless violence. I have to go, guys. Love you, Stefan. It was nice having you here, friend. I have already accepted that the world is no longer for the people, but for the corporations. Not by choice, but if the corporations get first dibs on robots, the Mama Gaia may not be the first in mind to love. I hear you, Zano, but I would like to offer the counterpoint that things are getting better. Despite how it may seem, if you look at the statistics for violent crimes, for senseless death, for curable disease, the numbers are dropping. Slow, still slow for how much access we have, but surely, right? It's clear we are tending towards betterment. And when it comes to robots and the infinitely scalable economy, right, it doesn't matter anymore how much money we spend on people. It's like, sure, the corporations might, be trying to finagle their way into owning the world, but also they want you as a customer happy so that you can continue spending money on their products. And there's a lot of them trying to do that. So they're making better and better products, making your life more and more convenient, giving you more and more access to tools. So it's again where you place the power. If you convince yourself that, oh, these corporations hold all of the power because look at how much power they have, versus, oh, I am the one that gets to, with my power, use these tools or not, spend my money or not, spend my time or not. It's where you place the power. The power hasn't been taken from you. Only you can give your own power away. And we do. We do a lot, right? We do that so much because it's entertaining. It's very entertaining. So entertaining to be powerless because it's like going on a roller coaster, right? It's literally you subject yourself to powerlessness, you strap yourself to a seat, and then you go on a ride. You can have fun. You can be like, wow, this is fun. And some people lose their minds. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Why would they do this to themselves, right? Yeah. Giving your power away can be fun. You can go on a crazy ride. But balance, again, balance. How much balance do we think we should have? How much of our power should remain our own? And then realizing that your observer, your awareness, the things you expose your awareness to, that is where your power lies. And a company can't take that from you. No company can take that from you. It is yours forever. Large corporations are trying to control the seed. They're just trying to distract us with robot fear mongering. Breathe. I agree, Melt. Kindness is king. I've received so much abundance in my life by just smiling and saying please and thank you. Exactly. That is the fractal I was trying to communicate into. Thank you, Joy V, for echoing. But I'm realizing so much more every day that all of this is just darkness in our world, and darkness cannot escape light. It can only hide from it. Amazing. Darkness is like the substance for light to overcome. Right? It's not a opposition. It's like the fall guy. It's like the fall guy. And the way that I articulated this to myself was like in a dream space where I was fighting demons with my flesh. where these demons were encroaching on my space, and they were like coming closer to my. I was like, oh fuck, get away from me! And I was like, this is exhausting, trying to fight all of these demons with my body. And then I realized, wait a second, emanating from me is a source of light, and that source of light emanating from me goes in every single direction, right? At the speed of light. And as soon as I acknowledged that part of myself, it was like a bomb, like a shrapnel bomb. Not fleshy vehicle stayed intact, but the light exploded in every direction. And with it, it completely eviscerated, melted away all of these demons that were encroaching on my space. And every single one of us are those sources of light, pinpoints moving around through space and time. You are the light, right? You are the light matrix that looking at you, light bounces off you, and then I get to see the light matrix you occupy. Sure, I can touch you and feel your fleshy vehicle, but without light, I won't know what you look like. I won't know the version of self that you have chosen to identify as. I got 2 iPads for me and my partner for Christmas. Both of the chargers broke on the same day. On the same day, over like 2 years. That is like some built-in obsolescence bullshit right there, Zano. I don't like that. Yes, Doc. Where light is, darkness cannot be. But light is untethered and can go anywhere. You guys are such huge sorts of light in my life. Dan, hearing your frequency, dude, is like a beam of light. Oh, every single time I read your words, man, it's so beautiful. Thank you. I'm sipping it and sending it to you. I love that money line, bro. Make it a t-shirt with that line. I wish I knew what you were talking about. Probably said something in there that was valuable, but my brain is too much in the present right now. You said it right the other day, Mel. People are a bit brain damaged when it comes to money being equal to self-worth. It's true, right? And this is like probably an insensitivity thing that I'm gonna get called out for, but I call and it's again, we use a lot of soft language these days when it comes to the way we talk about things. And using the words brain damage is very, very clear about what I believe it does to us. And I consider content that tries to paint a picture of how reality is or should be, and then you see that content and it influences your neural connections to now in the outside world, when you experience something, you believe that to be reality. I call that whole little fractal brain damage. Straight up brain damage. Like we brain damage ourselves. For instance, like there's like on TikTok or like Instagram, there are these video feeds where a content creator goes up to a bunch of different women and asks them a certain loaded question, loaded in the capacity of money, how much a person is supposed to earn, stuff like that, right? Loaded questions that create polarity. And then does a bunch of interviews with a bunch of people and then takes the most extreme cuts from society and then paints that picture on a screen to another person. And then that person sees that, and then instead of just seeing it as the extreme of someone catering for a certain, visceral reaction, it brain damages them to believing that's how it is, right? Oh yeah, all women are gold digging bitches, right? As the message that tries to be portrayed with this brain damage. And then even though you might not articulate that to yourself, even though you might not even believe it, now having seen a piece of content like that, you are influenced by it, brain damaged by it. And you'll see, we do it to ourselves. And you can do it mindfully. You can mindfully brain damage yourself a little bit. And I do that too, like meme culture. Meme culture is like, for me, acceptable brain damage. Because I think of it as like, yes, I am being influenced to consider reality in a way that might not be necessarily accurate. As in, you might experience a situation and then it draws up in your mind a certain meme. And then you communicate that meme to a person and they're like, yeah, totally. I see what you mean. That's still brain damage, but at least it can be used for, positive human connection instead of believing in more separation, right? Creating nodes in our head to consider other people as evil, as other, as despisable, if you will. The amount of women hating and men hating, right? The polarity, the hatred of one another happening in the world right now is a little bit concerning, confusing, maybe a little bit as well. Thank you for bringing that up as well, Zano. The same thing with the money thing, again, where it creates this narrative that certain people with certain kind of, lifestyles, having certain type of objects, get to be happy. Because again, those people are the ones at the upper echelons of the wealth pyramid. They're the ones getting the most traction when it comes to their popularity. That popularity gives them exposure. That exposure lets people see them. That seeing it reinforces this idea of having these things, living this lifestyle, creates me being able to see it, creates this experience. And then it brain damages us, believing there's some value in it. And then being the person who has all of this wealth, different problems. Same problems, probably, more often than not: relationships, happiness, health. Wealth is the problem they got to solve, but we still got the same problems ultimately. Realizing that our wealth, goes beyond just money it's a hard brain damage to undo right now. It's so deeply ingrained. The other question says, Calamitous Cheese, nice having you, friend, is whether we'll even let the tech proliferate out to everyday living. It's easy to think we're slipping into the future. It already has, dude. I have a literal AI assistant on my cell phone right now. I live on a farm in South Africa somewhere. Like this, I don't neighbors are kilometers away. We don't have electricity for like 12 hours a day right now. From 9 a.m. this morning till 1 p.m. No power. I'm like, bro, how are people surviving out there with businesses? And yet I have AI tools. I have AI tools and I have these devices that have cameras and microphones that I can strap to my body. And I have an internet connection. And eventually the interconnection will be like actual satellites flying through space. The tech is proliferating, right? It's already pretty deeply ingrained. We are in the future. Where should I start with Alan Watts? Please, YouTube, not a book. I mean, just go and search Alan Watts' most profound takes. YouTube will probably be more than willing to serve you up, a juicy video to watch. He's more popular now than he was when he was alive. That's the craziest thing about Alan Watts' movement. Joy. First, I did squats with my knees past my toes. Yeah, love is true. I'm proud of you, friend. UBI is great for the economy. If you're not familiar, read about the concept of the velocity of money. Exactly. And you work with money, Joy Vive, so I'm happy that you're also echoing that sentiment. Oh no, that's Dan. Sorry, that's Dan. If you do squats wrong, you'll blow your knees out. Please look at videos for correct form if you've never done them before. You don't have to go all the way down. You can just bend your knees lightly and then extend your legs again, right? Like, Pippi, can you stand up quickly? Why do I have to like demonstrate how to do squats? And this is something I do when I dance, for example. So when I dance, I don't actually have to completely squat down. I usually just go. So that's a great exercise, right? Is my legs visible? You just bend your legs a little bit and then you shift the weight and you shift the weight and you shift the weight. And what I like to do instead of sitting down when I'm absolutely, going to watch a piece of content, and I don't do it the whole time, but just standing up, bending your legs, and then shifting your weight. Back and forth. Might look like you're insane, but it's exercise. It's good for your body. Don't hurt your knees, please. Take care of your body, right? I cannot do that for you, unfortunately, but do move it. Running has kept me sane, brought me through tough times, totally changed my body. Through hiking, yoga, anything is key. Just moving, like we all know. Just moving, exactly, because like dancing is one of my ways to move, right? Very much not traditional exercise, but very tiring. I like yoga. I like doing, push-pull kind of exercises as well. Makes me feel strong. And yeah, I don't actually do too much running myself. But in the same way, we all have our own things, ways of moving that work for us, and finding that way, finding what's fun for you. It's a good idea. Those and deadlifts scare me. I also don't do deadlifts myself. I did squat my toes, which is why I opt for more calisthenics and cardio. I'm also a more body weight type of person myself. Same with deadlifts for me. It's not the weight that worries me, but form, cause I've injured myself many times. Please don't. Goddess pose is helpful. Yes, yes. If you want to exercise your legs, right, and you're like, oh, I don't wanna go to a gym. I wanna. Hey, Eva! They're chasing one of our kitties. Eva! They didn't catch it. Kitty is in the tree right now. But that's so rude, yo. That's so rude. Chasing my kitties. I'm so sorry. My face is. I saw my face for a second. I was like, is that what I look like when I'm angry? I don't want to be angry, puppy. Don't anger me by chasing my kitties. You silly doggers. I'll freaking bite your ears or something. Goddess pose, yes. So goddess pose is this. And then you can do like variations of the goddess pose. Just that. And you can like go shift the weight as well. You can, do little like mini pumps. And if you do some goddess poses for long enough, you'll get wrecked. Not in a bad way, just your legs will get taxed. And you'll be like, this is hard. Why am I doing this to myself? Squats hurt bad, and goddess is right in the middle and works all the squatting muscles without the back strain. Good idea, thank you. It's also a little bit more stabilized, as you saw, right? Because of that wide kind of stance. As Sam said as well, you're still activating those same squat muscles, but you're not going through that range of movement in the same way. It can be a little bit hard on the joints. Whoever's comment he's reading sounds like he's regurgitating a summary of Marxism for suburbanites. Whose comment was I reading? I don't even know. That's kind of hilarious, though. Maybe you're talking about the little piece I was reading from the notes. Seize the means of production after you drop off the kids at soccer. It's like tech hygiene. Some get distracted and will be damaged / worse off. Others will adapt and work in measures to engage healthily. Survival of the fittest in the tech age. Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about that because I feel it's unfair, but I also think it's a matter of education. So it's not over, right? We can still be educated even later in our lives. The biggest thing for me is I really worry about pornography use in society. I feel like that is like a radical shift in how people see one another, and I don't know that that's healthy, right? Like that is something I completely cut out of my life about 6 months now. Maybe a little bit more. Where it wasn't an active thing, but like a sexual stimuli, right? Because I don't partake at this point in my life in relationship, it was a means to an end. But then I realized reaching that end more often than not makes me feel worse. So I stopped. And it really changed my perception when it comes to what it is I think I need. And it's tech hygiene, as you said. And you know how I actually think about it? I think of it from this perspective of those pixels, your pixels on your screen can display anything, technically, right? In a weird way, with a super advanced model, with like latent space, your pixels can frame by frame capture or display every single one of your life events from a POV perspective. Just just think about that for 1 second. And I'm serious about this. That's the joke about infinity, but it doesn't even have to be infinity because this is just accounting for the amount of pixels you have on your screen. So your pixels can have different brightness values, different color values, right? And all of those possibilities we consider latent space, the all possibilities. So from all of those possibilities, you could have, like if you held your phone to your face, taking a video of your own arms, you could have a frame by frame shot of your entire life. You as a baby looking at your hands. You as a father now suddenly holding your own baby in your own hands. You as a person holding your hand out to the sun as you pass away, right? Like that's the crazy thing about these tools we have right now. So if it's that insane, if there's so much to be experienced in this technological realm, what do we choose to experience, right? And I have now brain damaged myself into believing that there are better things to experience than others. Like it's the whole reason I make these flowers, right? Tooting my own horn a little bit. This is yesterday's. This is yesterday's flower, right? So we wore a shirt. We took a picture of that shirt, and then that shirt became the work of art. And again, these pixels can display anything. So out of the anything that it could have displayed, these are the pixels that I manifested it to display, right? Pulled it out of latent space, made it a reality. And it's a tech hygiene thing where we've been brain damaged, right? Like as a young teenager, having access to the internet, it's almost like a no-brainer. A teenager's gonna freaking search pornography. Like it's of course that's what they're gonna do. But that doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right from the perspective of that's something we're supposed to be doing. It just means it's a human nature thing. And again, I feel like communicating it from that perspective, maybe there can be some education talking about what it does to the human brain to expose yourself to a dopamine experience of that nature, right? Like sex is something sacred. It always will be, but seeing other people naked usually was accompanied with you sleeping with them, right? Now, as a result of our current technological age, you could potentially, even in a single day, see more naked people than you would have potentially as a normal human being without these tools, right? That's the mind trip. That is, and some people probably value that part of it. And I'm not trying to say that it's bad, but I don't know if it's necessarily kind to your own psyche. And I think we can like nip it at that. Move on. He's right though. Political Twitch. Tech hygiene. You guys don't have solar yet, not yet. At least there are tons of subsidies to get people set up. It's true. Hopefully it will come soon, Calamitous. I watch a lot of political Twitch streamers, and one called Hesanabi always comments on diversiveness in our culture, literally as brain rot. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy that there are, it's again, right? It's like communicating it as it is, political Twitch, guys. I'm also not, I don't watch anything political whatsoever. I just cannot be bothered. And I'm not saying I'm recommending you do that too. I'm just communicating my personal fractal. He's right though. That is only one class that benefits when we all fight, and it ain't us. Exactly. Corruption is the answer to your question, Calamitous. I love running. I pour all of my aggression into it. The exhaustion is like the thing I push against. And when I overcome it, it's just pure joy. And you get to prove to yourself that strength, right? Like showing up in that way allows you more power. And that power is yours for you. It's not power over. Right? And a lot of people, again, they are brain damaged to seek power outside of themselves. They want to control others when they don't even have control over themselves. And that's the joke. That's the cosmic giggling. Like when I say the joke, the cosmic giggle is basically this experience of when you come to terms with everything, especially the horrible parts of it. It's almost like it's supposed to be a joke. It's supposed to be so visceral, so polar to the thing you know is true, that it's supposed to shock you and shock you into laughter almost. It shocks me into laughter all the time. Calamitous, says Dan, yeah, it's not for everyone, but there are good people in all pursuits, and I think Hasabi is one of them. He shares a lot of wisdom that goes way deeper than the surface stuff. I feel it's good, right? Like, even if it's only you watching that so that you can gain more vocabulary to communicate that perspective when you have that conversation with someone else. Sometimes I wonder about language and words coming out of my mouth where I'm like, am I actually saying these words? Who just said that? Who just said those words? Stop saying. I was watching Sam hide as he fought Hassan, lol. So I got a biased take on the latter, and there we go. That flower, gorgeous, nice work, thank you. Stumbled upon 4chan when I was 14. Yeah, for me it was 9gag when I was 14. Yeah, I had a BlackBerry Curve, and I could load 9 slides, and I had this little small pad that I can move my finger with. Load more 9gag photos. It was a vibe. Hey, Maxine. It's nice having you here, friend. How are you feeling today? I hope you're feeling better. There we go. Shell's also asking. We actually reached the bottom of the comments. How about that? Time to pull a card. I'm walking around more and more, but the pain in my shoulder and collarbones are bad for now. I'm not even going to say they're bad. They're bad for now. They're still feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but I can see them healing, slowly but surely. I know my body has this ability to heal itself, so I believe that with time and patience, this will be no exception. That healing is an inevitability. Lindsay, thank you, JV, for sending love. This is the card for today. Which will it be? Good chatting, though. Such a wonderful influence to be around. I'm always happy to catch everyone live. It's always nice to have you in this space with us, Calamitous. You add your energy so beautifully, your kindness so eloquently, your love so true. Zana believes purple. Stream drop for a second. Purple, 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 not purple. Damn. Orange and blue. No. I mean, it could have been purple. Isn't orange and blue purple? I know red and blue is purple. Hey, Google, what color does orange and blue make? Brown. I mean, I want you to be right, Zana. I'm like, my mind is like, if you do this, you take the orange and you put them in the blue. Orange and blue is brown. I know. Oh, it is brown, but it could be purple. It could be. Maybe if the brown was like really believing in itself, it could be purple. Yeah. Card number 21, the cube. We haven't pulled the cube in a while. How about that? Substance, order, and stability. The hexahedron, or the cube, with its 6 equal square faces, is one of the 5 three-dimensional shapes commonly called the Platonic solids. The cube is associated with the masculine side of our natures and the element of earth. It is a symbol of matter, security, solidarity, fairness, order, and stability. Choosing this card finds you seeking affirmation that the venture you are embarking upon or the project that you are designing is in the best interest. Do you feel secure that your plans are in good order? Does the essence of your project have substance and stability? Do you feel there is fairness in the situation? If so, this card affirms your intention to move forward and indicates stability and good fortune. Occasionally, it takes stepping out of the box in order to see the situation more clearly. Take a break, go for a swim, walk in the park, or head for the gym. Exercise, yeah. Set aside your objective long enough to gain a fresh perspective. Now look again at the substance of your inquiry with a refreshed attitude and realize the order in your manifestation. How about that? The order in your manifestation. You win some, you lose some. It's true. We're getting better at it though. Slowly but surely. I was thinking about the color purple today myself, Zana. Like I was like really thinking about it. I was thinking about the fact that I still don't have a purple scarf. And the fact that Joy Vive bought me a purple scarf and then she didn't like it and then she bought me this one instead. And then I thought about the fact that she mentioned that she likes that other blue scarf most. And I was like, huh, interesting. I wonder what a purple scarf would look like if I had one. And then I thought about my DMT trip and how purple and gold were the two colors exposed to me in that space. And I, at that point, took it very personally. I was like, purple and gold? I must be royalty. I was like, yeah, affirmations, yeah, confirmations. So, yeah, purple has been on my mind. Maybe you're still right, just in ways that you don't know. Of course, the artist would know and answer faster than Google. Am I tripping out? Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. I'm going to the movies tonight. I haven't been in a long time. I'm going to wear a new dress. I'm excited. Blue hair, new dress, movie night. Yeah, yeah, skapow. Go out there, be your beautiful self. Thank you, dear friends, for being beautifully here with me, for being kind, for being so kind. You friends are so kind. I love you so much. Thank you for joining me, for spending some time with me today. Gonna wait for Shan's message before I say goodbye. My tank top for 7 Lions show will be here next week. Yes. So Shan asked me if I'd be willing to turn one of my psychedelic flowers into a tank top, and I did it. The new Nick Cage movie. I didn't. Hey Google, what's the new Nicolas Cage movie? Oh, you did say Renfield. You did say that, but it looks vampires. No vampires. Yeah, Renfield, the tortured aide to his narcissistic boss Dracula, is forced to produce his master's prey and do his every bidding. However, after centuries of servitude, he's ready to see if there's a life outside of the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. What a trip. That sounds like a whole vibe. I hope you enjoy it. Are you gonna dress vampire with your dress, Zano? Is that too much? I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. People think pleasing God is all God cares about, but any fool living in the world can see it always trying to please us back. I actually agree with that sentiment, Joy V. That's why I think of my relationship with life as a love story. Like I'm just supposed to love the things life gives me as much as possible. And if I keep doing that, I'll get to live a good life. And it includes the color purple. Seeing the color purple and just loving that. That's how you live a good life. Beautifully said. Love you, Dan. Love you, Maxine. I'll be interested to hear what you think about that one, Zano. Do let us know. Thank you, Sam, for the love-ins. He plays Dracula. He does. Yes, mild love is true. Oh, you are gonna dress vampire. That's even cooler. That's so cool, Zano. I love that. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I sincerely love you all so super, super huge, enormously dearly. Melt of and all of you, absolutely amazingly amazing friends. As we love you. You are all beautiful. Be well today. See you very soon. I love Nick Cage. Nick Cage is a gangster. Dude has been a part of my life, pretty much all of it. Good morning. Hey, Hoopy. We're just about tuning out, friend. Sending you so much love. The Alice Walker for her book, The Color Purple. Also a great movie. I don't think I've seen that one myself, but I do look forward to seeing you friends again very soon. Probably tomorrow. Love you.